Welcome back here at the Common Game. Today, in deck number 1015, we're going to talk about Themberchaud. My name's Brian, and let's get into it. Themberchaud is a 7-mana 5/5 trample. Y'all remember this. This is one of the Dungeons & Dragons movie cards. Whenever Themberchaud enters the battlefield, he deals X damage to each other creature without flying and each player, where X is the number of mountains you control. So we're counting mountains. And yeah, you can exert him to gain flying. But we don't really care about that. We're wanting to count mountains. Sadly, there's not a whole lot of cards that count mountains. So naturally, we are only going to play with creatures with flying. So when we're talking mono red creatures with flying, we'll get there. I'm sure you've got it figured out. It's not a hard code to, but it does cost 7 mana. Our commander does. So let's look at our ramp, shall we? We have the full spread here: Soul Ring, Ruby Medallion, Fire Diamond, Mana Flare. I know Mana Flare helps everybody, but you know what? Game's got to end. Let's sure. Felwar Stone, Thran Dynamo, Warm Power Stone, Burnished Heart. Hey, it goes against the mountains. Pristine Talisman. Nyx Lotus, because we're going to have a whole lot of red pips on the board. Why not? And then the one-shots, Rite of Flame, Desperate Ritual, stuff like that. Card draw, not a lot. Thrill Possibility, Cathartic Reunion, everybody's favorite Howling Mine, and, Staff of Domination, because, that's what I use it for. This is a card draw spell for me. Now, let's look at the other mountain counters, right? The Granite Grip. Let's see if we can. Each enchanted creature you control, or enchanted creature gets +1 for each mountain you control, and then the Claws of Valakut does the same thing but adds first strike. So that can really, you put this on your commander, and it really takes the amount of swings down, because there's 3 real numbers we're all looking for commander damage, right? 7, 11, 21, 3 hits, 2 hits, 1 hit, and a lot of times one of these cards, or even something like Stratascythe, can take it from 3 hits down to 2 hits, sometimes even to 1 hit. And then, of course, we have Koth, Fire of the Resistance. What other equipments do we have here? We have the Trailblazer Boots, because, non-basic land walk is practically unblockable. Swiftfoot Boots to protect. The Reaver Cleaver. Why not? That many treasures? Okay. And then the good old-fashioned Dragon Throne of Tarkir. You guessed it. We are in dragons. Now, we don't have a whole lot of dragons. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 dragons. Plus the commander. Before we get to that, though, I want to talk about multipliers, I guess is what we're going to call it. Insurrection is a game-winning card. That's why it costs 8 mana. You gain control of everything. They're untapped. They have haste. You're just going to swing, for the fences here, right? Relentless Assault, you get a whole nother combat step. Aggravated Assault, you get, combat step equal to the number of 5 mana blocks you have. You just keep on, it is legit, Aggravated Assault. Then, of course, we have our City on Fire, the triples are, and then we have the Fiery Emancipation. Now, let's look at our dragons. First dragon's not a dragon, it's a dragon tutor. That's right, we're playing with a tutor. Sarkhan's Triumph. Go get a dragon. What dragons are we getting? Well, Thunderbreak Regent, Udvara Hellkite, we love that. You know, a dragon attacks, you get a free dragon. Beautiful. The Hellkite Charger, 7 mana to keep doing the attack step over and over and over. Lathless, this is the only problem that I have with Lathless, is why is it not a 6/6 dragon? Why have they been bouncing from the entirety of Magic's history between the 5/5 token and the 6/6 token? Just, now I gotta keep up with 2 different tokens? Come on. Hellkite Tyrant. Yeah, steal all the artifacts. I had contemplated putting a lattice in here, but it seemed like an awful waste of a lattice. So I didn't. That's right, it's a Portal Fire Dragon. And it counts mountains. Yeah. Drakuseth. 4/3/3, so that's 17 damage when it attacks. Now it's spread out, but 17 damage when it attacks. Can you imagine if you have a tripler out? Ooh. Shivan Devastator is just a great dragon that's always on curve. Always. Balefire Dragon. Gadrak. Steel Hellkite. I love the 2-headed dragon from way back, but you can't have a mono-red dragon deck without the original Shivan Dragon. I know this is the old school in me, and I love me some old school cards, right? But look at that. Look at that. True Melissa Benson art is beautiful. Now we're going to go from something old and cool to something old and unpopular. Before we get into the removal suite, this is kind of removal, but I think it goes with the theme of Themberchaud, you know? Wake of Destruction. This is a card that not a lot of people played, not a lot of people know exists. Destroy target land and all lands with the same name as that land. Yeah, it's a big old 6-mana sorcery. But this can totally... Yeah, I know people do not like their basics to be messed with. I get it. I do. But, I mean, it also hits everybody's... The Command Towers, Reliquaries, Maze of Is, you know, if there's something really popular on the board, hey. Or, you know, maybe the blue guy countered you too much. Either way... Okay, it's not going to get any better, right? We're playing Flash Fires. I know. White's already fighting with one hand behind their back anyway, and we're also playing with Boil. I don't feel bad for Boil. There's Boil and then there's Boiling Seas. Boiling Seas is the sorcery version. But Boil, instant speed, destroy all islands. You know, if the blue player lets it resolve, is it really my fault? Anyway. I felt those were in theme of Themberchaud. So let's get to our removal, shall we? We have Pyroclasm, Shattering Pulse. Shattering Pulse is great. I know 5 mana is a lot to pop an artifact, but to be able to repeatedly do it is not bad. I consider Lightning Bolt a removal spell. I do. In the early game, it's just as good as a Path or Sword. Chandra's Ignition, man, hot and fresh out the kitchen. Equal to its power to each other creature and each opponent now. It's probably going to kill your stuff too, but each opponent, that's the, you know, maybe you found that Granite Grip. Magma Quake. I like Magma Quake. I'll pay the extra red to have it at instant speed rather than have Earthquake. Red Elemental Blast is just a wonderful, wonderful card. The Curse of Merit Lage I do consider removal as well. Taps all islands and they never untap. Yeah. Blast Act, Chain Reaction, Vandal Blast. Of course, those are all beautiful. Pillage, single target, as well as Chaos Warp, Abrade. Now, Disrupt Decorum, do we... I feel like this is actually removal. Now, granted, it gets you one revolution around the table, but a lot of stuff's going to die. A lot of life totals are going to change. It's almost removal for me. Almost. And it's almost a time walk. I don't know. I like it, though. Tell me what y'all think. Then, of course, our last card that we have is good old-fashioned Comet Storm. Because with all the ramp, and maybe we get all those treasures, and sometimes every creature on the board got to take a Comet. Oh, it was hard not to quote the movie. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's what I have got for today. I do appreciate y'all watching, liking, subscribing, sharing, all the fun stuff. But that's it. I see the UPS truck pulling up outside, so we're gonna go see what goodies we got in. We're gonna go ahead and shuffle and cut.